Have you ever thought about how Zalissya was just left abandoned after the Monolith attack? Well, in today's video, we're gonna try to fix that. And also, take a look at some really cool mods that improve Stalker 2, add more immersion, introduce some new mechanics into the zone. So without further ado, comrades, let's dive in. So the first mod I want to talk about is Rebuild Zalissya after the Signal. This mod restores the Warlock side quest and add new mechanics tied to rebuilding the village after the Monolith attack. After completing around 1 to 4 of this quest, you will start seeing major improvements around Zalissya. There's also a new guy that replaces Uncle Lonya, the Monolithian, who, as you probably remember, had to be dealt with because he became a danger to everyone in the village. You will also notice that the trader, the mechanic, the medic, and even Warlock himself are all back at their original locations. Stalkers are walking around the village again, and honestly, the whole place finally feels alive. I honestly don't understand why the developers didn't add something like this into the base game, because after defending Zalissya, nothing happens to the village at all, and honestly, that feels like a crime. The next mod is Psy Indicator, and honestly, this one is super simple but feels like a must-have. Basically, it adds a new indicator underneath your health and stamina bars that shows your current Psy condition. So whenever you're exposed to Psy attacks from controller or other anomalies that affect your Psy health, you will actually see the indicator start dropping. In my case, I have pretty high Psy protection, so controller attacks don't really affect me that much, but if your Psy resistance is low, you will notice this pink bar dropping really fast, and that can become a serious problem pretty quick. Honestly, I really like this mod because the game never clearly shows your Psy condition by default, and in fact that something this useful wasn't already in the base game is honestly kinda ridiculous. And the next two mods I want to talk about were created by the same mod author, nickname Zivaka, and honestly, both of these mods feel like absolute must-have for your game. The first one is backpacks. This mod adds a whole new backpack system into Stalker 2. You can find backpacks throughout the zone, buy them from a trader, or discover them inside the stashes. And the cool part is, it's completely random. Different backpacks give different bonuses, some simply increase your carry weight, others improve your physical protection and elemental resistance. Here are some of the backpacks I was able to find during my playthrough, but there's also a picture showing all the current available backpacks you can discover throughout the zone, assuming you get lucky enough to find them. Honestly, this mod feels super immersive and it fits the game perfectly. The second mod is AR goggles, which was added not too long ago, and this one adds another mechanic to the game. AR goggles add a small minimap directly onto your screen. You can see it here in the corner. It shows nearby stalkers goggles. You will see the different kinds of information. For example, level 3 goggles can actually show you the locations of the anomalies, so it can be very useful. Or you can install special upgrades directly onto certain helmets and suits like exoskeleton or Seva suits. There are multiple upgrade levels and additional modules that technicians can install into your armor, so the system actually feels surprisingly deep. But keep in mind, those modules cost a lot of money. When the module is installed into your armor, you can continue using your night vision goggles without replacing it with AR goggles, so the minimap is gonna be there all the time. The next mod is called Cinematic Effects, and basically what it does, it adds more sparks, smoke, dust and debris during gunfights, explosions and firefights in general. Honestly, it makes everything looks way more cinematic and realistic. There's a small FPS hit. For me, it was around maybe 5 FPS lower, so nothing too crazy, but definitely something to keep in mind. But honestly, the cartinka looks so much better now during the combat, and I think it's completely worth it. Really cool mod overall if you want your gunfights to feel more immersive and visually intense. So the next mod is called Fast Travel Across the Zone, and honestly I think this version of Fast Travel is way more convenient compared to some other fast travel mods that I covered previously in my videos. Instead of only traveling between major stalker hubs, this mod lets you fast travel to basically any discovered location on the map. But the interesting part is it doesn't use money, instead it uses anti-radiation drugs. And depends how far the location is, it's gonna calculate how much anti-radiation drugs it's gonna use. Which is honestly kinda funny, because now we can finally have a reason to use these anti-rad drugs, because most of the stalkers use vodka to get rid of radiation poisoning. So if you want to travel really far across the zone, make sure you actually stock up on anti-radiation meds, because without them you're not going anywhere. I actually like the system a lot because it still keeps some survival balance instead of giving you completely free fast travel anywhere. So for anyone looking for a proper fast travel system in Stalker 2, I think this is probably one of the best options available right now, in my opinion. The next mod is called Echoes of Reality, and this one adds 5 new side quests across different parts of the zone, making the world feel a lot more alive and filled with things to actually do. One of the first quests you will probably encounter in Zalissya, where Warlick can give you an additional side mission. I'm not gonna spoil what it's about, but definitely check it out for yourself. Honestly, I think creating completely new quests in Stalker 2 right now is still pretty difficult, because their current modding tools aren't nearly as perfect as they could be. But honestly, the modders are doing an amazing job with what they currently have. This mod adds quests across several locations, including the Lesser Zone, Chemical Plant, Cooling Towers, Red Forest, and Amber. I personally managed to find 2 of them during my playthrough, and I'm pretty sure there is also hidden quest somewhere in the garbage area. The quests themselves are no voice acted yet, so you will have to read the dialogue manually. But overall, I think this is the really nice addition if you want more side content and more reasons to explore the zone. Next mod is called Anomalies Hit All Mutants, and it basically does exactly what the name says. Every mutant in Stalker 2 can be now damaged or killed by anomalies. Because by default, larger creatures like chimeras, pseudo-giants, bloodsuckers, controllers, and poltergeists don't really trigger anomalies at all, which honestly never made much sense to me. In this comparison footage, you can see the unmodded version on the left and the modded version on the right, and as you can see, the chimera actually gets destroyed by the anomaly almost immediately. Honestly, I think this mod adds a lot more immersion into the game, because come on, anomalies should be deadly for everyone in the zone, not just for the player. It also adds the new tactical element to combat, because now you can actually try to bait some of these larger mutants into anomalies and use the environment to your advantage during fights. The next mod is called Tappable Quick Items Use Reward. If you remember the old Stalker games like Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl or Stalker Call of Pripyat, you could quickly use items by pressing F1 all the way to F4 for things like medkits, bandages, energy drinks, and all other consumables. Well, this mod basically brings the system back into Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. Once you install it, all you have to do is press the corresponding F key, and it instantly uses the item placed in that quick slot. The original quick slots like U and E are still there if you want to keep using them, but for old school stalkers who are used for classic F1 to F4 system, this mod honestly feels like a nice to have. Oh boy, the next mod is called Decoupled Ranks, and honestly, this might be one of my favorite mods in this entire video. I have a lot to say about, so please give me some time. I will try to do it as quick as possible. So instead of getting your ranks throughout the scripted story progression, your rank is now tied to an actual XP style system, very similar to Stalker Anomaly, and honestly, I much prefer this system. The main idea behind this mod is to make your rank feel earned through the gameplay instead of just completing story missions. So now whenever you kill stalkers from different factions, they can drop faction patches that give you XP. For example, regular stalkers usually give around 10 XP whenever you loot their patches. Factions like Duty, Freedom, and Mercenaries give more, like 20 XP, while Monolith patches give the highest amount of 30 XP. There's also a full progression system from level 1 all the way to level 30. If you want to become the experienced stalker, which is at level 10, you need around 5000 XP. The veteran, level 20, you need about 35,000 XP, and so on. Mutants also play a role now, because you can collect mutant parts from their bodies, and those can increase your XP as well. So now there is actually reason to loot everything after fights. In my test playthrough, I asked the mod author for console commands to spawn some faction patches just to test the progression system faster, and honestly it completely changes the feeling of the game. I just started the game, spawned in Zalissya, and increased my rank to veteran, and I was finding a better loot and stashes. Hopefully in the future, for the author, also adds XP rewards for things like completing side quests, discovering artifacts, or exploring dangerous areas of the zone. But honestly, I'm probably never playing without this mod again. It just makes progression feel way more natural and rewarding. The next mod is called Full Card Minigame. This mod adds a completely new card game that you can play in most major hubs across the zone, except for Shelter and Icarus. You can even earn some extra coupons if luck is actually on your side. Honestly, I think it's a really cool addition because it gives you more things to do inside the zone besides just constantly fighting and artifact hunting. And if you don't know the rules of the full card game, definitely check it out online because it's actually really fun once you understand how it works. I used to play this game a lot when I was a kid, so seeing it added to Stalker 2 honestly feels kinda awesome. And the last mod on today's list is called Screen Clock. Very simple mod, but honestly really useful. It adds a small clock to the bottom corner of your screen that shows the exact in-game time at all times. I honestly don't know why something like this wasn't included in the base game, because normally if you want to check the time you have to open your map every single time, which is annoying. Nothing super complicated here, just really nice quality of life addition for convenience. That's all the mods I wanted to show you guys today. Hopefully some of these mods looked interesting enough for you to try out, and if there is any other mods you want me to cover in future videos, definitely let me know down in the comments below. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to support the channel and the community. I'll keep trying to find more interesting mods for updates for the zone. And good hunting, stalkers.